Welcome to Lens Biz. I'm Eric Stenbakken. Okay, hold it. Time out. So here's what happened. I struggled over the name of this channel for a really long time. I didn't love Lens Biz, but I used it, I forced it, and then I changed it. I did one episode, this one, and then changed the name to Eric Learns the Hard Way. It's going to be basically the same content, but a little bit more lighthearted approach. If I can help you learn things not the hard way, that's my goal, and we'll call that a win. All right, so with that said, and spoiler alert, that the name has already changed, let's roll. I'm Eric Stenbakken, media producer and entrepreneur. Today we're going to talk about why this channel got started. It's all about mentors. Let's get focused. Welcome to Lens Biz. I'm going to share tips, tricks, and wisdom captured through the lens of my experience to help make your business more successful. Why did I start my own video channel? Well, it looked to me like the internet was about to run out of content, so I figured, what the hey? Okay, so I'm kidding, but only kind of. Content is one thing, but content you can use to grow your business is an entirely different cupcake. I'll get back to that. Wee bit of history here. I've been a media content creator and producer for about 30 years. I did it borderline for free for around 4 years, then had a real job in the field for about 6 years, and since then been a freelancer for about 20. I've been a magazine editor, PR guy, photojournalist, art director, and today, commercial photographer, video producer, and DP, with a little real estate on the side. But here's a secret. I never did a degree in the fields where I now make my living. I was going to be a high school English teacher, and here I am doing commercial photography and video production. How the heck did I get here? And stay in the black every year, except for that first year. How did I do it? Mentors. Joel Sartori, Mike Forsberg, Tom Kennedy, Scott Endemar, and lots more. It would be a lie to say I'm self-taught. I wasn't. I was coached by a flock or a herd or a platoon or whatever you call a bunch of photographers. Let's say a lens bag. Anyways, I was coached by tons of talented professionals who were generous enough to help a newbie like me. So, I want to pay it forward. I have done some one-to-one mentoring, I have taught classes and workshops, but what really launched this channel was cupcakes. Yeah, cupcakes. Well, kind of. Actually, it was the cupcake baker. I had done marketing photography for a baker years ago. She was launching a new company and she came to me for marketing photography. Portraits, product photography, the usual things. I was blown away by her drive, vision, integrated marketing approach, and her baking. This woman was going places. I was amazed. Well, fast forward half dozen years and I run into her again and ask how the business is going. You know what she said shattered my heart. She said she had quit. She got her business rolling, then didn't know what to do. She had started a family and that did complicate things, but the biggest reason she quit, she said she couldn't find a mentor to help her figure out some of the things she encountered in the business. There wasn't enough time or money or energy to figure out everything on her own. Something had to give, and it was her baking dream. Right then, I was like, I have to do something. There's no way I want another small business owner to falter and fail because they don't have a mentor if I can help it. So, here's Lens Biz. It's my swing at helping you grow your business through the lens of my experience. You get it? Lens Biz. Whatever you think of the name, I hope you find the content useful. Although my experience is primarily in media content creation, I believe that the principles of business as they relate to freelancers is way more the same than different. Whether you're making cupcakes or photos or custom furniture or designing logos, there's lots of common ground. Yes, some things are unique to your specific business or industry. I don't know about every business. But I do have a stack of business cards somewhere with my name on them, and that stack is about a half-inch thick. I've mowed lawns, done engagement pictures, run a custom darkroom business, I managed rental houses and even ran and sold a landscaping design and maintenance company. I've got a story in an upcoming episode about a hard lesson I learned in that business, a lesson I still put to use today. It's my hope that you can learn from my experience. I don't know everything, but maybe you won't have to repeat my mistakes. I've learned a lot over the years, some via workshops, some via books, lots of books, and magazines. You guys remember those? And I'll admit, I've learned some on the internet. But what grew me the most professionally was the generosity of those who were ahead of me. Mentors. This is my way of paying it forward. I hope you stick with me, grow your business, and in turn, inspire others. So a word about the format of these LensBiz videos. My idea is to have some semblance of organization to the first 5 minutes or so, then have the first ending, and then the bonus round. That's where I'll go off script about the same topic for as long as I feel like it. Those of you who want the really focused content, the first half is for you. If you're in the mood for more and you're okay with a few detours, stick around for the off-road part. Section 1 ends now. You're still here? I want to take a minute and talk about finding a mentor. Suppose you're young or new to a profession and you would like to find somebody who knows more than you do and ask them, how they got there. Fair enough. How do you do that? My recommendation is to find somebody in person. My advice, and it's worth every dollar you're paying for it, is to find somebody that's somewhere you can at least get to them. You can drive to them, or heck, if you really look up to them, and you can fly there and visit with them for a couple hours, maybe that's worth it to you. But to meet somebody in person, I think is really important. Well, how do you do that? You find somebody that's worth looking up to, and you need to do a little bit of asking around about that. Are they willing to be a mentor? Is this person a good teacher? Because there's sometimes a real difference between somebody who can perform their craft super well and somebody who can teach it or mentor it. Sometimes they're the same, and if you can find that, then awesome. Absolutely do that. When you do seek a mentor, it would be my advice that you do this more than just a one-time thing, that you set it up so that you can meet with them on some sort of periodic basis. Maybe it's monthly, maybe it's quarterly, maybe you start out just once every 6 months until you find out if this is the person for you and you're the person for them. When you do find a mentor, it would be my advice to actually add value to them somehow. Maybe professionally you don't have a whole ton to add, but you know what? Let's suppose in my industry, somebody says, hey, I want to find out what you do. Well, spend some time with me. There's stuff. There's stuff all around back here. Most of my gear is hanging on the wall on this side. You can't see it. But if somebody shows up and says, hey, look, I'm willing to carry things. I'm willing to set things up. I'm willing to drive. I'll go get lunch, whatever it is. That's adding value. Sometimes people want to just show up and say, hey, I would just like to suck your brain for knowledge for an hour or two and then leave. That's harder as a mentor to get excited about that. But if you offer to do something, suppose you want to work with a custom furniture maker. You say, hey, look, I'll sweep up. I'll move lumber for you. I'll move machinery around. I'll do the dusting. Whatever it is you want, how can I add value to you? A little story that goes along with that. The first time I met my now friend, Joel Sartori, I cold called him. I had a mutual friend who knew him and had done some work for him, and I looked up Joel in the phone book and I just called him. And he said, yeah, awesome. I'll be glad to meet with you. How about right now? So he gave me his address, and I show up at his house. I was working at a college in a marketing department, so I was wearing good clothes. And the first thing he did was hand me a paintbrush, and he said, here, work on painting the deck with me. I was like, oh, it's worth a set of clothes just to talk to him. And so I did. I started painting or staining or whatever it was, his deck. And while we did that, he flipped through my portfolio and talked to me a little bit. And that began what turned out to be a friendship. I lived in the same town as he did, And over the years, we've become friends. But I started by painting his porch. And the next time we met, I'm pretty sure I was basically a chauffeur. I drove him about 120 miles to an assignment. I didn't get paid anything, but I got to talk to him for an hour going and an hour coming back, and that was valuable. That was worth whatever gas it cost me, but my goal was to add value in some way, and I would recommend you do the same. If you are so fortunate as to find a good mentor, take their advice. One of the first things that Joel told me was, hey, you need to take a photojournalism course, and I never had. I just didn't have that. I took photography in high school, and I got a C because I didn't want to do things the way the teacher said to do them. So I said, okay, fine. So I had to enroll in a different university. I worked at one college, and I had to enroll in a different university to take this photojournalism course. And so I did it. And while I was in that course, within the first 6 weeks or so, Joel actually came and presented to the class. And after class, I went up and said, hey, I don't know if you remember me. We'd met only once at that point. Said, you suggested that I take a photojournalism class. And so I did, and I'm here. And is there anything I can do for you? He said, well, yeah, actually, I'm going on assignment in a little bit. You want to drive? And that was the next step in our friendship and relationship. So if you find a mentor and they give you a suggestion, why would you go through all the trouble of finding a mentor and then not do what they say? Before you actually meet with a mentor, let's say they agree to meet with you, certain time, place, whatever it is, have a few questions outlined. Do a little bit of research about what questions you might have for them. Questions about the industry, questions about their art or their history, or suggestions on where you go next, or have an outline of, hey, here's where I've been. What do you think would be cool to do next? If you show up with no agenda, no pad, no paper, smartphone, whatever your flavor is, and you just want to sit there and get their autograph or whatever, that's not a mentoring relationship. A mentoring relationship is a learning relationship, and you need to be ready to do that. So do some homework. To those of you who are already professionals in your field, I want to challenge you with this. Are you mentoring somebody? Have you made yourself available to the up and coming? Maybe they're younger, maybe they've done a career change like I did. But I want to challenge you to think about that. Find out how you can pay it forward and add value to somebody else's life and career by being a mentor. Thanks for joining me. I do want this to be as interactive as much as possible. So let's use the comments. What important things have you learned from your mentors? Tell me down below. Since this is brand new, pretty please hit the like button thing. Hit subscribe if you want to keep track of new content. Thanks. Cheers.
And cut.
That's the best tasting thumbnail picture I've ever made.